Have you ever seen one of golf's greatest legends publicly challenge the future of the PGA Tour? Because that's exactly what happened when Jack Nicklaus stepped in front of reporters at Muirfield Village. The 18-time major champion has witnessed every major transformation in professional golf over the last 6 decades. He's seen tours grow, rivalries emerge, and the business of golf evolve. But despite all those changes, Nicklaus has rarely spoken out unless he believed the game itself was heading in the wrong direction. This time, his message couldn't have been clearer. "I'm not in favor." Those 4 words immediately became one of the biggest talking points in golf. They weren't directed at a player, a tournament, or even a controversial ruling. Instead, they were aimed at the PGA Tour's proposed long-term vision under its new CEO, Brian Rolapp. Reports surrounding the tour's future suggest that officials are exploring significant structural changes by 2028, including a shorter competitive season, fewer overall tournaments, and a schedule built around more premium events. Supporters believe these changes could make the PGA Tour stronger, easier for fans to follow, and more competitive in today's sports landscape. But Nicklaus isn't convinced. From his perspective, making golf more efficient shouldn't come at the expense of the traditions that helped build the tour into one of the world's most respected sporting organizations. What surprised many people wasn't just his criticism, it was the timing. Nicklaus admitted that he hadn't even had a full conversation with Brian Rolapp before making his concerns public. That revelation immediately sparked debate across the golf world. If the most respected voice in golf history felt the need to speak before sitting down with the tour's new leader, just how serious were his concerns? To understand why this matters, you first have to understand who Jack Nicklaus is to professional golf. Most fans know him as the owner of 18 major championships, a record that still defines greatness. But his influence goes far beyond trophies. For decades, Nicklaus has helped shape tournaments, designed championship golf courses around the world, and played a major role in growing the game internationally. His annual Memorial Tournament isn't just another stop on the PGA Tour calendar, it's one of the tour's signature events and a tournament built around honoring golf's history. That's why, when Nicklaus speaks about the future of the tour, people don't simply hear another opinion. They hear someone who helped build the modern game. During his media session, Nicklaus pointed to a problem that he believes is already becoming visible on the current schedule. He used the Cognizant Classic as an example. Positioned between several of the tour's biggest events, the tournament now faces enormous competition for the world's best players. Elite golfers simply can't play every week, especially when multiple high-profile tournaments are packed into such a short stretch of the calendar. According to Nicklaus, that's where the danger begins. When too many marquee events are scheduled back-to-back, players are forced to make difficult choices. Some tournaments receive stronger fields, while others, even those with decades of history, risk losing star power. Over time, fewer top players can mean lower television ratings, reduced sponsor interest, and declining prestige. Nicklaus fears that if this trend continues, some of golf's most historic tournaments could slowly fade into the background. His warning wasn't emotional or dramatic, it was practical. Professional golfers aren't machines. Even during Nicklaus's own career, players understood the importance of balancing competition with recovery. Playing week after week without adequate breaks increases fatigue, affects performance, and makes it nearly impossible to stay at your best throughout an entire season. Today's players face even greater demands, with longer travel schedules, global commitments, media responsibilities, and increasingly competitive fields. Compressing the calendar even further, Nicklaus believes, may only increase those pressures. At the center of this discussion is Brian Rolapp, the executive chosen to guide the PGA Tour into its next era. Rolapp built his reputation in the NFL, where television strategy, scheduling, and media rights helped transform professional football into one of the world's most valuable sports properties. Many believe that experience could help modernize the PGA Tour and strengthen its commercial future. But golf isn't football. Unlike the NFL, where every team follows the same schedule inside a single league structure, professional golf has always been built around individual tournaments, historic venues, and traditions that span generations. Every event carries its own identity, local community, and legacy. Changing that formula isn't as simple as shortening the calendar or highlighting only the biggest tournaments. And that's exactly where this story becomes much bigger than a disagreement between two respected figures. This is becoming a debate about what professional golf should look like over the next decade. Should the PGA Tour evolve into a more streamlined, television-friendly product designed for modern audiences? Or should it protect the traditions that have defined the sport for generations, even if that means sacrificing some commercial opportunities? Those questions are no longer theoretical. After Nicklaus made his concerns public, plans were put in motion for a private face-to-face meeting involving Jack Nicklaus, Brian Rolapp, and PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. With the future of the tour hanging over the conversation, the entire golf world began wondering what would happen once those three influential voices finally sat down together behind closed doors. The meeting quickly became one of the most talked-about moments of the Memorial Tournament. Behind closed doors at Muirfield Village, three of the most influential figures in professional golf finally sat down together: Jack Nicklaus, new PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolapp, and Commissioner Jay Monahan. No cameras were allowed inside. No official transcript was released. And when the meeting ended, the golf world was left with more questions than answers. Considering how outspoken Nicklaus had been just a day earlier, reporters naturally expected him to reveal what had been discussed. Instead, he chose a different approach. When asked about the proposed changes, Nicklaus declined to go into detail. His sudden silence immediately fueled speculation. Had Rolapp addressed his concerns? Had they found common ground? Or were the disagreements simply too significant to discuss publicly? The truth is, only the people inside that room know exactly what was said. What we do know is that neither side backed away from its broader vision for the future of the game. Rolapp has consistently been viewed as someone brought in to modernize the PGA Tour. His background in the NFL gives him a different perspective from most golf executives. He understands how television audiences consume sports today, how broadcast schedules create value, and how star players drive fan engagement. From a business standpoint, creating a shorter, easier-to-follow season centered around the biggest tournaments could make the tour more attractive to broadcasters, sponsors, and younger audiences. From that perspective, the proposal makes sense. But golf has never been built on business alone. Its identity has always been tied to history, tradition, and tournaments that have been part of the calendar for generations. Every classic event tells its own story. Every historic venue carries memories that connect different generations of players and fans. That's exactly what Jack Nicklaus believes must be protected. His concern isn't simply about one tournament or one season. It's about what happens if the PGA Tour gradually becomes focused only on a handful of elite events while everything else loses importance. Smaller tournaments often give rising stars their biggest opportunities. Local communities spend years preparing to host tour events. Charities receive millions of dollars through tournament partnerships. Sponsors invest because these events matter beyond television ratings. If too many of those tournaments begin disappearing from the spotlight, the entire ecosystem of professional golf could eventually feel the impact. That's why this debate has attracted so much attention. It's not just about scheduling, it's about deciding what kind of sport golf wants to become over the next 20 years. Should it prioritize commercial growth and global entertainment? Or should it preserve the traditions that built its reputation in the first place? Many fans believe the answer lies somewhere in the middle. Most agree that the PGA Tour must continue evolving to compete in today's sports landscape. Fan habits have changed. Media has changed. The competition for viewers has never been greater. Standing still is rarely an option. At the same time, change becomes dangerous if it comes at the cost of the qualities that made the sport unique. Finding that balance may be Brian Rolapp's biggest challenge as CEO. For Jack Nicklaus, however, the message remains simple. Progress is welcome, but progress should strengthen the game, not erase the traditions that generations of golfers worked to build. Whether the proposed 2028 changes move forward exactly as planned or evolve through further discussions, one thing has already become clear. Nicklaus has ensured that the conversation is no longer happening behind closed doors. By speaking publicly, he forced fans, players, tournament organizers, and tour executives to think carefully about the direction professional golf is taking. And perhaps that's exactly what he wanted from the beginning, not to stop change, but to make sure every decision is made with the long-term health of the sport in mind. The coming years will reveal whether Rolapp's vision creates a stronger PGA Tour or whether Nicklaus's concerns prove to be justified. Until those changes begin taking shape, the debate will continue, and every major scheduling decision will be examined more closely than ever before. One thing, however, is beyond debate. When Jack Nicklaus speaks, the golf world listens. And this time, his words may influence one of the biggest decisions the PGA Tour has faced in decades. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Do you believe Brian Rolapp's plan is exactly what the PGA Tour needs to stay competitive in the modern sports world? Or do you agree with Jack Nicklaus that moving too far away from golf's traditions could do more harm than good? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one of them. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want more in-depth golf news, behind-the-scenes stories, and analysis of the biggest issues shaping the game, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.